table in the center of the room turned at his entrance. President Walter had not yet arrived. The young psychologist acknowledged with pleasure the introduction to the two scientists with Schmelz. Both of them were known to him by name, and he had been following with interest a series of experiments which the elder Dr. Annerly had been reporting in a psychological journal. Then he turned at once to the apparatus on the table. He was still examining the instruments when the noise of a motor stopping at the door warned him of the arrival of President Walter's party. Then the laboratory door opened and the party appeared. They also were three in number, stout men, rather obtrusively dressed, in jovial spirits, with strong faces flushed now with the wine they had taken at dinner. "Well, Professor, what fireworks are you going to show us tonight?" asked Walter, patronizingly. "Schmelz," he explained to his companions, "is the chief ringmaster of this circus." The bearded face of the German grew purple under Walter's jokingly overbearing manner, but he turned to the instruments and began to explain them. The marine pneumograph, which the professor first took up, consists of a very thin flexible brass plate suspended by a cord around the neck of the person under examination and fastened tightly against the chest by a cord circling the body. On the outer surface of this plate are two small bent levers, connected at one end to the cord around the body of the subject, and at the other end to the surface of a small hollow drum, fastened the plate between the two. As the chest rises and falls in breathing, the levers press more and less upon the surface of the drum, and this varying pressure on the air inside the drum is transmitted from the drum through an airtight tube to a little pencil, which it drops and lifts. The pencil, as it rises and falls, touching always a sheet of smoked paper traveling over a cylinder on the recording device, traces a line whose rising strokes represent accurately the drawing of air interchased, and whose falling represents its expulsion. It was clear to Trent that the professor's rapid explanation, though plain enough to the psychologists already familiar with the device, was only partly understood by the big man. It had not been explained to them that the changes in the breathing, so slight as to be imperceptible to the eye, would be recorded unmistakably by the moving pencil. Professor Schmelz turned to the second instrument. This was a platysmograph, designed to measure increase or decrease of the size of one finger of a person under examination as the blood supply to that finger becomes greater or less. It consists primarily of a small cylinder so constructed that it can be fitted over the finger and made airtight. Increase or decrease of the size of the finger then increases or decreases air pressure inside the cylinder. These changes in the air pressure are transmitted through an airtight tube to a delicate piston, which moves the pencil and makes a line upon the record sheet just under that made by the pneumograph. The upward or downward trend of this line shows the increase or decrease of the blood supply, while the smaller vibrations up and down record the pulse beat in the finger. There was still a third pencil touching the record sheet above the other two and wired electrically to a key like that of a telegraph instrument fastened to the table. When this key was in its normal position, the pencil made simply a straight line upon the sheet, but instantly when the key was pressed down, the line broke downward also. This third instrument was used merely to record on the sheet, by the change in the line, the point at which the object that aroused sensation or emotion was displayed to the person undergoing examination. The instant silence which followed Schmelz's rapid explanation was broken by one of Walter's companions with the query, "Well, what's the use of all this stuff anyway?" "Ah," said Schmelz bluntly, "it is interesting, curious. I'll show you." "Well, one of your gentlemen," said Trent quickly, "permit us to make use of him in the demonstration." "Try it, Jim." Walter laughed noisily. "Not I," said the other. "This is your circus." "Yes, indeed, it's mine." "I'm not afraid of it. Schmelz, do your worst." He dropped laughing into the chair the professor sat for him, and at Schmelz's direction unbuttoned his vest. The professor hung the pneumograph around his neck and fastened it tightly about the big chest. He laid Walter's forearm in a rest suspended from the ceiling, and attached the cylinder to the second finger of the plump hand. In the meantime Trent had quickly set the pencils to bear upon the record sheet and had started the cylinder on which the sheet travelled under them. End of The Man Higher Up by William McHugh and Edwin Balmer, Part 1.